everybody, I'm sure, in this room would love to just relax and dream. Why is it that we all run out and just try to make it?
Because you can't see vibration, and so you don't trust
Can't believe it. Yeah.
even though there is not a shred of evidence anywhere in your universe to the contrary of it. Even though everything that has ever come to you has come in response to your vibration. And so if you will think about it, if you will trace your steps back through life experience and begin to look for the correlation between how you were feeling and what happened, how you were feeling and what happened, you will discover that in every case, what happened was an exact correlation to how you were feeling. And then you would say, I think I'll work a little harder on how I'm feeling and a little less on justifying good through action that never had anything to do with it to begin with. You see, if you had come to us earlier in your experience, like when you were babies, it would be easier for you to hear all of this because you already know it. But because you've practiced these habits of justification for a while, and often you have these vibrational patterns going, we know that none of you can just quit your jobs today and start dreaming yourself into success, because there's this buffer of time and the creditors would be banging on your door very quickly. And so we're not saying stop all action and start dreaming. We're saying dream a little more and act a little less. We're saying that 10 or 15 minutes of focusing and visualizing until you find the feeling place of success is equivalent to many thousands of action hours, you say. When you hold a thought purely, which just means you don't contradict it for 17 seconds, another thought that is like it joins it, and there's a lot of power in that joining. When we said to Esther, 17 seconds of pure thought is equivalent to about 2,000 action hours, she could hardly believe that. We said, when you double that, it's equivalent to 10 times that in action. So that means 34 seconds of a pure thought is equivalent to 20,000 action hours. Esther said, how could that be? We said, we've got more. 3 times is worth another 10 times. So that means 51 seconds of pure thought, not diluted thought, not contradicted thought, pure thought is equivalent to over 200,000 action hours. 68 seconds of pure thought has the action punch or power of over 2 million action hours. Esther said, Abraham, that is hard to believe, which was her nice way of saying, I don't believe this. And we said, you don't believe it because you rarely go more than 8 seconds without contradicting your thought. So you have not discovered the power of thought. Most of you have not discovered that the universe is conspiring to assist you. You work hard from this attitude of unworthiness, from this feeling that you are not enough, from this feeling that you have to justify. So you heard us as we were visiting with our friend here. It was fun to talk with him, wasn't it? Because he was so obviously off the wall. Didn't you enjoy hearing him? Couldn't you really hear why he was stuck? Wasn't it easy to hear why he was stuck? Couldn't you hear how he was just not going to let the well-being into him because he was so mad at those bad people who were taking advantage of so many people? Didn't he make it really easy to understand why he was sort of stuck and not allowing it to come in? It's a lot easier to hear when it's happening to somebody else, especially somebody who's exaggerated to the place. And what we want you to begin to do is to recognize that the universe is responding to the way you feel. So think about the way you feel. Every now and again, think about the way you feel. Don't think so much about what you're thinking. Don't think so much about what you have or what you possess, or don't think so much about how you compare with your actions or with your possessions to others. Instead, think about how you feel. Ask yourself, am I sitting here in a feeling of well-being? What is my feeling? Do I feel intimidated? Do I feel self-conscious? Do I feel inadequate? Do I feel unworthy? Or do I feel pretty good? Do I feel cocky? Do I feel full of myself? Do I feel in love with life? Do I feel exhilarated? Am I feeling fun? Am I feeling some passion? Am I adoring you? Helps if you get it off you. In other words, rather than looking at you with these feelings, start looking from you with these feelings. Look out into the outer world. How do I feel about that cat? Oh, I love that cat. How do I feel about that woodchuck? I'd like to get that woodchuck. In other words, how am I feeling? Because how you're feeling is what your point of attraction is. How do I feel about my mate's ability to attract dollars? How do I feel about our financial experience? Am I appreciative, which is open to more, or am I embarrassed, which has it shut down? Am I eager, or am I tired? In other words, how do I feel? Are you getting this? How am I? And have you ever laid in your bed and just felt tense? I need to sleep. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. You know that feeling? Have you ever just deliberately tried to relax in your bed? Do you know that feeling of relaxing? As Jerry and Esther were picking up taking a test drive in their beautiful new motorhome, this very knowledgeable man says, now what I want you to do, he's saying to Esther, she's so excited, she just wants him to get out of the way and let her sit in the seat, but he's going to teach her how to drive this monster. And he says, you're wanting to put the steering wheel flat, not like this, but flat. And then put one hand on the steering wheel. And rather than gripping it, just move it with your hand. And in doing so, you will never feel tired while you are driving. He said, take both hands and hold them like this. Now feel how that feels in your back. And Esther could feel the big knot in her back. He said, now put one hand, relax it on your leg. And as Esther put it on her leg, she felt the knot in her back go away. Then he said, now lay that hand out, and she felt ease come over her body. She did not realize till he pointed it out to her that she was ready to drive that big motorhome, and he wanted her in a place of connection and relaxation to drive that big motorhome. In other words, you don't stop very often to think about how you're feeling, do you? And yet how you're feeling is everything. How you're feeling is your point of attraction. How you're feeling is your asking from the universe. How you're feeling is everything that is coming to you. If you're feeling unworthy, you can work day and night, night and day, every day, and not allow the very things that you want to flow because your vibration is not allowing it, and the universe cannot buck your current. How you're feeling is everything. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would let the contrast naturally produce the desire. It will. And when we feel a desire within us, we would look at it, we would recognize the weirdness of it, we would recognize how unfamiliar it feels, and then we would do what is our work. Then we would do what is our work. Then I would do what is my work. Then I would go to my work. I would do the work that I have been born to do. I would get on my path and I would do my work. My work is before me now. Now I know how to do my work. Now I know what I'm responsible for. Now I know what I will do. My work is, it's simple. My work is to take that new desire and play with it in my mind's eye until it feels familiar. Until it feels like the manifestation of it is the next logical step. How does your goal feel to you? Does it feel way out there and you're way over here? You're wanting to practice your goal in your mind. That's why. So how would it feel to have, what kind of dollars are you talking about? $1 million a year? $500,000 a year? What is it? What is the income for what you are wanting?
Yeah, the immediate goal is just $5,000 a month.
What would it feel like to have $5,000 a month? In other words, what would it feel like? How does that feel? Does it feel freeing? Does it feel secure?
Yes.
Does it feel proud?
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel satisfying? In other words, does it feel fun?
Yeah.
What would that extra $5,000 a month feel like?
More than anything else, I think it would. I would feel like I can do it. That if I can achieve that step, then I mean, the sky is the limit. So that would be freeing for me. That would be
Because the 5,000 is proof that you can do it. Now, there's something stuck in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
In other words, there's something amiss in that, because what that's saying is, I can't do it, and I've got to do this so that I can prove that I can do it. And can you feel how the energy's all mixed up in there? So what you're wanting to say instead, in other words, what would it feel like relief? Oh, that's a strong word, isn't it? Would it feel like relief? Would it feel like relief to do it?
Yep.
And what do you think you are relieved from? Relief from the fear that you can't do it?
Yep.
So reach for that feeling of relief. In other words, pretend like you've already done it. You see, we were trying to help you just jump that hurdle effortlessly by saying to you, you never get it done. And what you're sort of saying to us is, well, I need to get that done so that I can know I can do the next. And we say, you've already done that. You're standing here. You don't need to step in the next place to prove that you can step to the next place, because you're constantly stepping to the next place. And there's no standard about which next place is the right place to stand. When you get that there's no standard of where you should be standing, and you start just standing in a new place for that. So let us bring all of this. You've been hearing us ranting and raving here for hours. Let us bring this all to a place that you can really hear it, because this is what we wanted you to get from all of this today. And if you get this, you have quantum leaped into a new place of deliberate attraction. Most everybody stands here, dissatisfied to some degree, longing to be over there. The whole point of that point of attention over there is not to get over there. The whole point of it is that by desiring that, life force flows through you on the way. Did you get that? The whole point of the goal or the desire is that the desire summons life force through you. That's why you're always wanting another, and you're always wanting another, and you're always wanting another goal, another goal, another goal. That's why we say you will never get it done. And so when you hear that, we're offering it to you in a new way that you may hear more clearly. So why do I want that? It's an interesting thing, isn't it? The goal must exist to summon the energy, but the goal can't matter that much or it stops the energy. So you're wanting the goal for the sake of the energy that will flow through you, not for the sake of the manifestation. We said to a woman one day, well, actually, we'd been talking to her quite a bit, and she shouted at us. She was very mad. She said, Abraham, I don't think you care if my lover ever comes to me. I think you want me to envision him so clearly that in my mind's eye, he is real. So real that it doesn't matter that he's not really there. And we said, that's exactly right. Because we know when she feels him in that way, the pain will be gone from her, and the life force will be flowing through her, and all of her goals will be achieved, and we also know then he must come. But it is not him coming that we are holding our breath about. It is him being a goal that is reason for her to focus, that causes life force to flow through her. It is the life force flowing through her, you see. So if you were asking us how we feel about your goal, we would say we are delighted that she has unfulfilled goals, because as long as she is wanting, life force is still flowing through her. And so from our non-physical perspective, we say the unfulfilled goal is the constant summoning of life. And you say, oh, well, you should come here and live with us. We want fulfilled goals. We want fulfilled goals. We want fulfilled goals. And we say, they will all be fulfilled when you get over being so unhappy that they're not fulfilled. In other words, if you can start being satisfied in the unfulfillment. And why is that? Because here I am. Here is this contrast. Gives birth to a new desire. The new desire feels weird in the beginning because this is where I'm used to vibrating. So I look at it, I talk about it, I visualize it, I play with it, I imagine it until it becomes familiar, and now it is the vibration that is me, and now we are one. And now we have a new platform from which to examine contrast, which gives birth to another desire, which is weird in the beginning. I'm a failure again. I haven't succeeded. But I look at it, I visualize it, I find the feeling place of it, it gets familiar, I imagine it, it becomes the next logical step, it manifests, and now here I am again. You never stop that cycle so long as you all shall live, which is forever.